Hey, what's up everyone? This is Zach from the DIYgolfer.com, and today I've got a full 18 holes for you on how to break 80. We're going to be talking some strategy, got some interesting situations ahead of us, and just going to walk through my strategy on how I handle them. So starting out here on the first hole, this was pretty straightforward, par 4. By the way, we're at Elks Run Golf Club just outside of Cincinnati, Ohio. You can check the description. I've got a link to the course on localgolfspot.com, another site that I run. Anyways, we were off to a pretty hot start, namely because I played the wrong tees. I didn't see the tee box behind this one, so this par 3 that should have been about a 6 or 5 iron turned out to be a 52-degree wedge. So despite not playing golf by the rules, I managed to capitalize on this quote-unquote mistake. This was a downhill left to righter, and I'm always thinking about just keeping my head down on these because the tendency is to push it out to the right. So really committing to that stroke. See, I almost lost it, but nailed the birdie to go to 1 under. So, as you can see on the screen, there is some water over there, actually a big pond that I was not aware of because when I go and film these videos, I'm usually in a rush trying to stay ahead of that group behind me and don't generally get to look at the holes. So I'm just trying to hit a 3 or 4 iron here over the water, trying to lay it up and really lean with that slope. Because if you don't lean with the slope, you're going to catch it fat, and that ball is going right into the water in front of you. So got myself down here to a position where I might have a chance of getting up and down for par after that penalty stroke. With that water there, can be a little nervy, so always thinking about keeping my steady center on these sorts of shots. That's kind of my only swing thought. Because I'd rather contact the ball well and not hit it in the right direction there than have missed contact and hit it in the water. So like I said, did not ever play this course before, so this is my first time here. And this is, I believe, I'm kind of losing track at this point, but my 7th or 8th round in the last 5 years, coming out of college golf. Took a huge break after a little bit of burnout, and now getting back into it and really enjoying the game, but also struggling in a lot of areas. So it's a great way to point out some of my weaknesses. You'll see those kind of pop up here later in the video. And by later in the video, I mean this hole. I flailed this one out to the right with an 8 iron. You know, not a terrible shot, but it was in this rough, and that pin was sloping away from me. And I just got really cute with it and just basically stabbed at the ball. Left myself with a 40-foot putt, and that pin is sitting on a ledge, so anything after that and the ball is gone forever. But on these sorts of putts, you definitely don't want to leave it short because then you have a slick downhill putt. I'd rather have this one right here, which is uphill, and I can be aggressive with it. You can see I almost knocked it in, but I'd rather have that than a 5-footer straight down the hill. So really the problem there was that chip shot. Didn't leave myself anything to work with. But on this hole, what I had in my mind was obviously lots of frustration. I was pretty angry, but I knew that I needed to take my medicine here because I was in the right rough, and this green was surrounded by water left, and there's like a hazard OB right, and it was really protected. So I knew that just laying up to this short, 60, 70 yard distance and hitting a wedge in there and seeing if I could make a putt was my best chance at birdie. And I knew that, being frustrated from the prior hole, I was more prone to hitting a bad second shot, so didn't even want to test it. So as you can see, going into the next hole, I kind of got the train back on the track and made a par on that par 5, which not the best, but you know, start to stack some momentum, and that's kind of the name of the game here in golf. You know, back when I was playing and learning the game and, you know, shooting higher scores, having lots of blow-up holes, I think one of the most challenging things for me was to recover from a hole like you saw before where I made a double bogey, because I felt like, well, hey, I made a double bogey, I can't ever get those shots back. Now I have to do something extra on the next hole to make up for it. And over the years, I've learned that that almost never results in good shots. It almost always results in more blow-up holes, and you really don't benefit from it. Getting a little fancy with my camera work here. Doing all this filming on my own, so give this video a like and subscribe for maybe that extra effort there. But hit this putt and right in the jaws and just didn't give it enough. Thought I was going to get that birdie. And then came to this really cool hole. This is kind of their signature hole. You can see lots of people have taken divots off of this tee box to get this view. Wasn't a particularly hard hole or long hole. I think it played about 140 yards, and down the hill I was really just hitting wedge. But terrible lag putt. Left it well short and didn't hit a very good par putt, so walked away with a bogey on a picturesque hole. So on this tee shot, I made a classic mistake. I looked down at that fairway and it looked so wide, and it just felt like one of those holes that I could swing as hard as I possibly could with the driver. And so instead of just knocking it into the fairway, I tried to swing as hard as I could for no apparent reason. I wasn't reaching this in one, no matter what, and ended up in the rough. So despite having a decent look at birdie here, probably could have done a little bit better, hitting it in the fairway and giving myself a wedge from the short grass. But as I line up this putt, I want to let you know that in the description, I've left a link to my site where you can go take a free personalized practice plan. So if you're having a hard time knowing what to work on to get the most out of your practice time and improve your game, I will send you a personal plan of what I think you should work on based on your skill level and some other things. So be sure to check that out. Link is in the description for that. So just a little cleanup for par here. So walked away with a 3 over 39 on that front. If you like this video, be sure to hit that thumbs up, and let's get to this back nine. Really hoping for a hot start to try and turn things around a little bit, and I'm hitting 3-wood here to get past those trees on the left. Want to make sure that I give myself an open shot into the green, so that's always part of my strategy. And hit a great shot off the tee, but was in a divot, and I show that not to make an excuse for myself, but to kind of highlight, well, what do you do when you land in a divot? Well, for many of us, it's kick that ball a little bit to the side and have fun out there on the golf course. We're not, competing or anything, but if you are trying to be competitive in this game and you have to play it as it lies, one of the things you can do is stand closer to the ball. Kind of gets that heel off the ground. Knocked in that birdie really nicely. It's one of the longer putts I made today in this round. But anyways, with those divots, you stand a little bit closer to that ball, and that heel will come off the ground, and so it kind of allows you to kind of pick it off of the turf a little bit cleaner. Because if you have a flat sole and the ball is kind of below the ground, you're going to catch it fat no matter what. So that is my key. I kind of choke up and stand closer to the ball. So coming off of that birdie, Got it back to, what, 2 over? 3 over? I can't remember if this was a par. Yeah, this was a par 36. So got it back to 2 over. Was getting a little bit of momentum here until this shot. Shot wasn't terrible, caught it a little bit chunky, but this lie was very challenging. And I do not have a hybrid in my bag, which is probably what I'd use here, just kind of putt it with a hybrid. But since I don't have that, and I really don't like putting with wedges, I chose to grab a putter and lean forward, just kind of chop at it. And I ended up hitting a really nice putt, but then a terrible par putt. So back to 3 over, and hit another nice one down the middle. Driver didn't feel very good on this hole with that slope on the left. And I didn't know that this green was angled like this, and so I hit it way too far on that right side. Gave myself just about nothing to work with. As you can see, I'm putting back up the hill here. So that chip shot really had no chance, and the key on those is to just get it on the putting surface so that your worst is a 2-putt, as you saw right there, and make bogey. So we got a par 4, just ripping this 3-wood off all the tees. Hit a decent wedge here, but caught it out to the right a little bit, and it just went way further than I thought it would. So had a straightforward little chip down the hill, really just trying to hit like a putting stroke. Throw that ball way back in the stance, hands forward, just kind of small little putting stroke for a bump and run. So if you watched my other videos where I break up these 9 holes, you'll know this story, but this was an interesting hole. I went left of the fairway and really tried to gamble with it and hit a 3-iron. Hit that tree that you see right in front of me, which knocked it down, luckily. Hit a worm burner to here, and then hit a decent wedge, not anything crazy, to about 25, 30 feet here. And as you'll see, golf kind of came into play here, and I got a little bit lucky. My only swing thought on this was get the speed right so that I could just have a tap in for bogey, but made a par. Never going to complain about that. So that ball was sitting down a little bit, and the same thing applies to if you're in a divot. Just get closer to the ball and choke up a little bit. So that's what I did there. Made sure I caught it clean. Caught it so clean that I flew the green. But really nice up and down. Was happy with that par. We're sitting at 4 over now. I was getting very hungry and thirsty. I didn't have any food or water out on the course that day, and the group behind me was playing pretty quick, so I had to keep pace. Didn't really have time to go in the clubhouse and get something. So at this point, I'm really just struggling with, keeping my energy levels up and my focus levels, and I think that's something that as you get to the back 9, really nice putt there. That was a huge momentum putt. But as you get to the back 9, these last couple stretch of holes, the name of this game is just energy conservation and keeping your focus. So really going through your pre-shot routine. Don't get lazy with that. Picking your targets, focusing on those targets. It's so easy to get to these last couple holes and just totally get caution in the wind and just rip it and lose all that focus and hit bad shots. So really trying to hold it together, and this last putt was one of those that, not going to make a huge difference in your round, but is a huge momentum putt. You always want to make that last one. So for 2 in a row here, 2 great saves in a row. Walked in with pars and ended up with a 75. So nothing crazy, but pretty decent round. If you liked this video, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget, in the description, there's a link to that free personalized practice plan. So go check that out. Got a lot of great stuff for you. And until next time, I'll see you later.